Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast, Season 3, Episode 18. Frank, you're muted right now.
I hit the record button too late. So for the pod, you gotta do it again.
Okay.
The intro.
All right. Well, hey everyone, welcome back.
From here.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Season 3, Episode 18 of the 3rd and 20 Dynasty Podcast. We have the Frank and JT show going on right now. Lounis and Jake will join us shortly. But yeah, so that means we are heading into Week 13, and we are officially starting off with Deshaun Watson returning for the Cleveland Browns. I think, as far as trade calculators go, Deshaun Watson has been super undervalued. I
agree.
I think we're about to see the boost now, like off the field stuff aside and everything. Like, I think he's still a very good quarterback. I don't really care that he's taking time off. I mean, we saw Baker Mayfield 2 years ago was able to take this kind of team to the playoffs. I'm sure Deshaun Watson will at least be able to do something similar. He's just a significantly more talented quarterback. He hasn't really had good coaches with him. He has had DeAndre Hopkins for a time, but I mean, even Kyler Murray is struggling with DeAndre Hopkins right now. So I'm actually very intrigued as to where he would stack up amongst the top quarterbacks, because personally, I think he might be a top 3. Like, I think I still slot him above Justin Herbert.
I think that's a little high, but nonetheless, I think for the most part, with most people that have Deshaun Watson and were drafting him in startups, he was going at the turn in 12-man Superflex drafts, Dynasty startups, right around, like, whether it was like, what, 202, 112, right around Justin Fields, Trey Lance, those guys. I think realistically, that's been the price that you've had to pay for a while. If you did use Keep Trade Cut or any other trade calculator while trading him, you probably were selling him at a loss. Definitely. Because it's just one of those phenomena with the trade calculators that if your guy's not the flashy new toy, and especially if they're not playing, they're not going to get the realistic respect that they deserve. So, I mean, yeah, if you can get him right now, I think he's ranked on Keep Trade Cut like 25th overall Dynasty asset. To me, he still is a top 15 Dynasty player. And you'll probably see that when he comes back. There's a reason why, even with all the allegations, the Browns traded like every draft pick for him. And he'll probably come back and play pretty well. He's got a really nice rushing floor. And he'll be putting up like prime Russell Wilson numbers, I'd say.
Well, my question here is should there be any concern that we saw a different team give up every draft pick in the world for a quarterback, and that has just completely bombed out? Is there any concerns over Deshaun Watson not having success with the Cleveland Browns?
I don't.
It's Cleveland after all.
Yeah, but Cleveland's a pretty decent team, and they actually have a running game that they can rely on. I think that's one of the other reasons why the Broncos are – because, yes, Russell Wilson's playing like shit, but there's also a lot of other reasons why the Broncos' offense is bad. It's not just because, Russell Wilson is playing bad. That means that he's the sole problem, and if you put in a backup, all their problems are solved. They can't run the ball, especially without Javonte. Their offensive line is average at best, and I think that might even be a stretch. And their receivers have not been playing well, and in the case of Jerry Jeudy, arguably their top guy has been hurt now. So it's kind of just a complete shit show there. And I just don't think the Browns are like that. You see Amari Cooper, that trade is panned out extremely well. He's been arguably a top 10 receiver in the league. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a guy who stepped up really well.
Outplaying Allen Robinson.
Yeah, they have some. They had to take the dig there at what's his name?
Yates.
Kyle Yates. And the Browns still have a pretty decent offensive line. They have good running backs. Like, I just think that in Cleveland, there's a lot less that's going to go wrong. And you see a guy like Brissett coming in there and playing well. So that's a guy that I want to transition to, because honestly, watching these Cleveland Browns games, Jacoby Brissett has been playing extremely well, and he is not getting the credit he deserves. Everyone has been seeing Geno Smith and been like, oh my God, elite level quarterback. The guy's had a complete resurgence in his career. Well, to me, Jacoby Brissett, maybe not as playing as well as Geno, but he is playing, I honestly think, as a bottom end QB1. If you were to rank out how all the quarterbacks have been playing this year, the guy is throwing fucking dimes. Every game he is throwing dimes. And a lot of these nuts passes that he's thrown have actually been dropped by Browns receivers and whatnot. So, like, I'm just questioning whether or not Jacoby Brissett has more in him as a starter that's not on the Browns, and if he's worth buying in Dynasty, because I think he's significantly cheaper to acquire than a guy like Geno.
I'm just not ready to say anything about Jacoby Brissett being like that good. I mean, I'm looking at his stats, like 12 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It's decent. It's definitely better than a lot of the quarterbacks that we'd expect. But I mean, when I watch those games, I think, like, yeah, sometimes he has good passes, but other times I'm like, what the heck are you doing, Jacoby Brissett? Like, why have you decided to make this kind of play? I just think this is a team that Baker Mayfield was able to take to the playoffs 2 years ago, and we see where Baker Mayfield is now. And Jacoby Brissett has a very similar team. Like, they haven't really lost too many key players. They picked up Amari Cooper, and they're just a slightly below average team. So I just don't think he's that kind of quarterback that's going to elevate you guys. I think he's more in the mold of like a Tyrod Taylor kind of bridge quarterback, where maybe you bring him in for a little bit, but like at the same time, I think there's other quarterbacks that they likely would take over Jacoby Brissett, they being like the NFL. Like, I think if Marcus Mariota gets replaced with the Falcons, I think he'll probably have another opportunity. I think Jimmy G is going to end up somewhere else, especially after what we've seen with this year. Mitch, I think I'd rather have Jacoby over Mitch at this point.
I'd rather have Jacoby over Mariota. I've really not liked what I've seen out of Mariota.
I haven't either, but like I don't know.
He's more mobile. That's one of the things, and that seems to be what a lot of offenses want. What's going on, Joe, dude? How you been?
Hey, Joe.
I mean, the problem I have with Jacoby Brissett, and this is just all of this tranche of quarterbacks, is that I am not investing in lower tier quarterbacks. That's just not a philosophy in these super flex leagues that I'm going to do, unless I'm desperate for a QB2 as a contender. But even then, I might rather just go out and buy a receiver or a running back or something. I hate these fucking QB2 and below level players, unless it's maybe a startup draft and you're trying to fill out your roster. But to me, the quarterback position is just a position that you have to swing for the fences. You have to go for upside because they're the guys that score the most points. So just something interesting. Thought Jacoby Brissett's playing well. I agree with you. I'm not buying him, but then again, if you're the person that traded for Geno Smith in the beginning of the season, if Jacoby Brissett, when he gets benched and is not playing, and you're the guy that trades a third-round pick for him, and he comes out next season, ends up starting for I don't know.
I'm just going to cut you off here and say, like, that's such a rare opportunity for stuff like that to happen. You typically don't. And I think you're just as likely picking up a player off waivers that's going to do similar stuff. Like, think of the players this year that were on waivers that have started. You have Colt McCoy, Joe Flacco, Bryce Perkins. I'm missing other players. Taylor Heineke was on it. Mike White. There's all these different players that you could just pick up off waivers, and they're going to start games for you, to the point of I'm just not. I think Andy Dalton was probably still on waivers in a decent amount of leagues. Like, I'm just not putting my proverbial third round egg in the Jacoby Brissett basket.
Okay, yeah. What's going on, Skull? How you doing, man?
Hey, Skull.
So Jordan Love, he's alive.
Yeah. So what was originally everyone before the game happened? I think it was Rappaport, one of the NFL beat writer guy, talking heads, whatever you call him, said that Aaron Rodgers' hand injury was actually way worse than anyone thought. It's a miracle he's playing through this, blah, blah, blah. Obviously a puff piece to boost up Aaron Rodgers. And then he gets injured against the Eagles, but I believe it was a totally separate issue, some kind of oblique injury, I believe. But we saw Jordan Love. And immediately Jordan Love gets in, and Christian Watson breaks off a long touchdown, and there's big hype around Jordan Love. Now, I think we could all say variance, like he got tossed in a situation. It's hard to really grade him off whatever it was, like a quarter and a half of a game. But my question to you is, Aaron Rodgers, who knows? It seems like Green Bay Packers fans, we have some friends who are. It seems like his time in Green Bay is kind of turned sour. I'm not really sure how much longer Aaron Rodgers will be the Green Bay Packers quarterback. Does that mean we should be trying to get Jordan Love?
No, I think it's the opposite. I'd be trying to sell Jordan Love. I don't know. This might just be, I don't want to call it take lock, because I feel like it's a take that's turned out correct. But to me, it's like, since day one, I haven't wanted Jordan Love. And one throw against the Eagles where Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, if you remember, was hurt. It was a good play by Christian Watson, but that backup safety was actually playing really well, like Blanken something or another.
Blankenship.
He took a terrible angle. He took a terrible angle on that tackle. Completely underestimated Christian Watson's speed, and then he takes what should have been just like a 25, 30-yard game to the house. And people are acting like Jordan Love is the guy who made that play. No, that's a Christian Watson play. So if now there's a significant boost on Jordan Love because of that one throw. I am once again, if I have him, taking the time to sell. Maybe this isn't the perfect time to sell, because you're right. If they lose one more game, the Packers, then they're probably, if they're like you saying we'll just trade Aaron Rodgers in the offseason and we just need to restart, then yeah, they're going to bench him. But I don't know if that's going to be the case. And I'm going to take the bump now to sell. I think that you should be able to get Love in a third for a second, if not more. And that's a trade that I'd love to do. Just turning Love into a second. He was a second-round pick when he was drafted. Give me the re-roll, 3 years into his career?
Yeah. I think you could get the second just straight up at this point for Jordan Love. And I would 100 times out of 100 do it. Because he's not the answer. The
only thing, though, is that with the way that the Packers offense is set up, and their running game was actually pretty good against the Eagles, the only issue was that the Eagles running game happened to have like a top 10 running yards performance of all time. So they kind of just got bested there. If Jordan Love is thrown in and they still just kind of go with the same game plan they've been going with Rodgers, I think that Love can actually play well. I just don't believe in him long term. So it might not be the time to sell now. If you hold and keep holding, you might be able to get a better price. Or he pans out, right?
Yeah, or he pans out. You're probably right. I'm just still getting out for the second, though.
How many times has this ever happened where a guy that is a first-round pick has to wait, this is his third or fourth year?
Third year, I believe. No. He was part of the Justin Herbert draft, right? That'd be third. I'm pretty sure.
I can't remember. Yeah, it might have been.
Joe Burrow.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I don't even think had to wait that long.
Yeah, I mean, they threw him in the preseason and everything. And he's still not looking good. Like, he doesn't look. He had the one broken play to Christian Watson, and otherwise, it's just they didn't even trust him last year when Aaron Rodgers had COVID or whatever was going on there. So no, I'm out.
I love Love. I roster Love and Huntley, staying patient on both. I just kind of want to get out. Actually, no, Aaron Rodgers had to wait till his fourth season, so I'm wrong.
Yeah, but do you remember last year? Who started last year for the Packers when Aaron Rodgers? Was it Jordan Love? Because I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Jordan Love played. I mean, it was a complete shit show.
Yeah, he was bad, right? He was like.
Yeah, I know he had that one game against the Chiefs that was kind of hard to watch.
Anyway, I'm going back to his 2021. Yeah, he played the entire game against the Chiefs. He had one touchdown, one interception. He had 19 of 34 for 190 yards. Yeah, that's
but
pretty terrible.
The thing is, though, with quarterback is that it is a very, like, if you're in the groove and you're feeling it, like, it's kind of like pitching in baseball, right? Like, there is a lot of that mental element to the game. And if you're feeling it and you're reading the defense and you're playing that third of a second faster and you're now comfortable in the system, he could turn it around. I'm just not going to bet on it, right? Like, if you're pointing it to your case in point as, oh, well, he could be Aaron Rodgers. It's like, well, yeah, he could be, but like, what? I could throw a bullseye drunk as fuck in the bar with a behind the back shot. But is that the norm, or is that me just kind of getting lucky, right? Obviously, it's the norm.
Yeah. I'm getting off the train now. He's got a huge boost. It's just I don't see him being the long-term solution like you. Like you also don't. So just get out now on Jordan Love while you can. I'm sure there's plenty of other players and prospects that you could pivot on. Right now, though, would you take, while Lounis isn't here, I'll let you, this is your safe space, Jordan Love or Zach Wilson? Let's say you're
take Zach Wilson.
You're in a startup draft.
At this point, it's whatever.
You're in a startup draft. You're on the board. Those are the two you're between. You're taking Zach Wilson. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree. I also would take Zach Wilson, and we saw Mike White.
We can honestly impromptu Jets segment because we saw Mike White come in there and play really well. And listen, all credit to Mike White because he went in there and he made some fantastic throws that under pressure Zach Wilson was not making. He was making reads that Zach Wilson was not making. But then again, they were playing what I think currently is the worst defense in the NFL that also
definitely
lost.
Up there.
I mean, Eddie Jackson's no longer one of the better safeties in the league, but he's a decent veteran safety. He's one of the better players in the Bears secondary. Gets injured on that play where I think it was Elijah Moore, or maybe was Garrett. Was that Elijah Moore's touchdown, or was that Garrett Wilson?
That was one of the long
ones. Once again, right? I think it was like a deep dig or a post, and it would have been a 25-yard play, but the guy completely fucks his ankle and can't make the tackle, so guy runs in for a wide open touchdown. To me, this is an easy week to sell Mike White.
I didn't even know we were talking about Mike White here. Mike White's not not the guy. He's not a long-term solution. We saw it with the Jets last year. He was fine, but it's like, Cinderella, once the clock strikes midnight, turns into a pumpkin kind of thing. It's going to happen to Mike White. Mike White is not a long-term guy. He's nothing. Flip him for anything. I would take
I'm just mass offering him for a third. I think right now you can honestly get a third.
Go ahead. If you could get a third.
The thing is, this is the Jets fans' wet dream, where it's the backup quarterback coming in and saving the day. That's what Jets fans have wanted for ever. They get off to this sort of stuff. So,
poor Jets fans.
Yeah, just find the Jets fan in your league, target him with a third, easy money. And I'll take that. Mike White's going to be back on the bench, or maybe he's a Taylor Heineke, where he's every once in a while back, but 2-3 years down the line, Mike White's going to be gone in the wind.
Yep. All right. Quick impromptu Jets.
Honestly, because we're on the Jets, let's move up James Robinson.
Okay.
This is a really weird one because James Robinson, healthy scratch. I will say James Robinson looked like shit when he was playing for the Jets.
He's been one of the worst running backs in the league since he's joined New York.
But that being said, Michael Carter gets hurt. I think one of the reasons why they didn't want to bring him on the roster was just because they're kind of fiending for roster spots here. So they brought in a guy like Zonovan Knight. They wanted to give him a chance. Plus, he plays special teams. Now that Michael Carter's not hurt, it seems like everyone's given up on James Robinson now.
Mm-hmm.
James Robinson, like James Conner, is the roller coaster. Is this the time to get in at the bottom? Is this the time? It happens every year.
No,
he just roller coasters up, down, and up and down.
No, but what's different is parts of the track have just fallen off because he tore his Achilles. And you could say what you want. I'm not a doctor, blah blah blah. But I don't know. It still seems like it's undefeated. The Achilles still seems like it's undefeated. James Robinson, he was fine in his first 1 or 2 games, but that could have just been variance. And then since then, back off that cliff, back off that Achilles cliff. One of the worst running backs in the league. since he got traded to the Jets. It's not a roller coaster I want to get on. It's a death trap. That's just
Robinson clearly not healthy. Yeah, I agree. The thing is, I feel like he's even lost a step since the beginning of the season. Like, I'm curious if there's something going on with him behind the scenes that we're not aware of, and the Jets don't want to disclose for whatever reason, or he doesn't want to.
Yeah, what do they have to gain about that?
But like he looked horrible for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe he gained some weight. Who knows?
I'm off the James Robinson train officially.
But I feel like he always goes back up. Right when you count him out, that's when you can buy, and he just goes back up.
There's a different running back what we'll get into when we talk about our buys. That I would much rather just go out and get, and I believe he's probably even still cheaper than James Robinson.
This is a weird story.
Yeah. So if you listen to his agent, OBJ was just putting a blanket on his head like he always does on every plane that he flies on, and he couldn't hear the flight attendant, and the flight attendant was saying like you have to take the blanket off your head or something like that, and he couldn't hear, or no, you got to buckle your seatbelt, and he couldn't hear, so then they took him off the plane. What most people are reporting is he was passing in and out of consciousness. No one's really sure what the deal is with OBJ. Gets kicked off the plane. Terrible timing for him, considering that there's like NFL teams begging for him to join their roster. But I will say, I don't think this is stopping anyone from signing OBJ. It's not like it was a violent crime or anything. Like, just got kicked off a plane. It's not great for, public image or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But since when does the NFL care about that? They just care about, can you catch touchdowns, and if you can,
and does the video look really bad?
yeah, and what are the optics of the video?
Because initially I was going to say, is there a video? But in Alvin Kamara's case, it's, does the video look bad? Right?
Yeah,
If it doesn't look bad, who cares?
I
actually was surprised because I don't really care about this at all. I feel like I'm the type of person that I just don't really, and honestly, to a fault, I don't care about any stories like this. And I feel like you're the type of person that's more willing to buy into, I see a news story or something that I really don't like, and now I'm going to pivot off of someone that I'm neutral on. Depends. So to hear you say you don't give a shit, like, I definitely don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, Kamara I didn't really care about. Deshaun Watson I definitely cared about. I don't know. It's case-by-case basis.
Now, nonetheless, is this a time as a contender with no trade deadline that it's worth throwing, like, what does it take to get Odell? A late second?
If that.
Not even?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
Odell, you probably want a late second.
Yeah, if you're a mid-team and you're selling OBJ, you probably want draft picks. Like, do you ever take OBJ in a third for a 2? And is that worth doing if you're a contender looking for a flex play for your playoff run?
The only thing I'm worried about is, playoffs start in 2 weeks, I think. 2 weeks. It's just like, he's going to get on a team and he's going to immediately produce right away. Like, I guess
what happened with the Rams.
I guess OBJ, but it's tough for me to, unless he's going right back to the Rams, it's tough for me to say, we're immediately going to pop you into this team. Like,
if he went to the Giants, he's getting peppered with targets.
Sure, but I think he's got his eye set on Dallas. I think
I agree.
Would love to be part of Dallas. And right now they have CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup there, although Michael Gallup's kind of been disappointing so far this season. But I'm sure they'll just be like, hey, like, we don't need to trot him out right away. He has been playing
better, though, recently, Gallup.
A little bit.
It's annoying with him, but the catches that you see from Gallup and the plays that he makes are very impressive. He just hasn't. Maybe part of it is that their run game has been so fantastic that they don't really need to throw the ball a ton. So when you have a guy like Lamb, who is he's like a 30% plus target share type of guy. So you kind of need some volume out if you have a guy like that to be a good, like, actual receiver number 2, more than like a flex play. So if Odell goes there, I'm not super happy.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess another avenue to trade into him, though, now I'm thinking about it, is if you have one of these more hyped receivers, just cashing out and get draft picks plus OBJ.
Like a George Pickens?
Yeah, a Pickens could be an example where you sell him for a late 23 first and OBJ. I think that's a trade
Okay,
that
I would do that.
realistically can happen.
I would much rather
I'm not
trade
I'm not
first than
advocating
OBJ.
for doing that because I do like George Pickens, but at the end of the day, you can probably get a pretty decent prospect with a late first. Maybe not as good as Pickens, but probably around there in the
Okay.
realm of.
Yeah, I would much rather have the Pickens and I mean no, I'd much rather have OBJ in the first for Pickens.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
maybe it's the Steelers bias coming out.
probably. Next on our list we have Darnell Mooney is out for the year. I think it's an ankle injury.
Yeah, it sucks. He was starting to play well again.
This is part of my whole theory. I think the Bears are just shutting things down. I think Justin Fields injured, Darnell Mooney injured. They're like, hey, we have nothing we're really playing for here. Let's just regroup. Oh, hey, Lounis. I don't know if you're on the screen yet.
Yeah, I'll get you in here, Lounis.
Yeah, so we're talking about Darnell Mooney out for the year, Lounis. So I'll fill you in. I just think it's
really quickly, JT. Start him, sit him, connoisseur.
Yep.
Isaiah Pacheco or Damian Pierce, PPR.
Pierce.
Damian Pierce.
Yeah, I think he's a start actually on my stardom sim this week, Damian Pierce.
I will say I got so lucky with Mooney because I kind of took the bait on. Actually, no, I didn't. We sold him. We had him in our rebuild league, right? We did Mooney in a second for a first, which looked great. Then was like, oh shit, Darnell Mooney might actually be worth the first. And then again, it's like, well, now that's a great trade. And then I did the same trade. I did the same exact trade like 2 weeks ago with my last Darnell Mooney share.
Nice.
So like I lucked the fuck out.
Got out at the perfect time.
I like Mooney though. I still think Mooney's a great player. I have gotten boned so many times trading for guys that have injuries, just being like, well, injuries don't matter, and clearly they do. But
this one doesn't seem like
this one isn't.
Mooney, like I think the whole problem with Mooney is simply the Bears just don't pass enough. They just don't have enough passing production. They're the worst passing offense in the league. If you get that to average, which Justin Fields, with the development that we've seen in the Bears offense, that could happen. It could happen that they become an average passing attack. All of a sudden, Mooney is a pretty decent target share level wide receiver too.
So I do agree with you. I think he's talented enough to be like a really good fantasy receiver. It's just he does suffer from being on like a non-heavy passing offense. I completely agree with you for that. The only thing I'll say that does kind of concern me, I guess, long term with him, like the receiving core right now, it's pretty much the main two. It's Mooney and Claypool. I still feel like some point over the next year, I think 1 year, maybe two, they're going to try to bring in like a true number one guy. And then at that point, how does his outlook look on that team if, like, say they get a number one receiver and then it's him and Claypool, I guess a 2A, 2B type thing?
I just feel like you look at the past couple games, I feel like Mooney proved that he was just better than Chase Claypool.
To be fair to Claypool, though, it takes a bit to like get used to a whole new offense and everything. Like, I'd want to see how he look. I'd want to see how he looks at the start of next season.
Okay, that's a fair point. I'll give you that. The one problem I have with Mooney, and I'm not really sure how the injuries affected it, is the price.
Real quick, I do say, though, I do agree with you. I'd give Mooney the edge over Claypool. I just don't think it's like a 1-2. I think I'd give Mooney a slight edge.
Because I loved Mooney when he was going in like this is like the first season we did the pod, I think, where him and Gabe Davis were like 11, somewhere between the 10th to 12th round of Superflex startups. And I was smashing him. But then it got to the point where he's what? 7th round, which is around Keenan Allen territory. It was, which means he's around a first round pick. What does the injury realistically do to the price? Lowers it a smidge? I just don't think I can get in for a mid-second. So if I can't get in for a mid-second, I'm not sure I want to give up anything more.
Oh, I guess I should say this because it's related to the injury. The injury doesn't affect my value of him. Like
that's the problem. I think most Mooney owners think that way. It's like, oh well, fuck. He'll just be back next year.
No, I don't even have really share. I might in one league, but none that I'm like super high on. I don't. My opinion of him doesn't change for that. My opinion is still the same with like evaluating the offense he's on, what I think could happen long term. But no, I don't think the injury should make people lower on him.
So would you take Mooney or 206 this year right now?
206.
I think 206, but it has nothing to do with the injury.
Oh shit! So maybe I can get it.
It has nothing to do with the injury. It's the fact that I think Chicago is going to bring in another really good receiver at some point for Justin Fields. And also, like, I do think Justin Fields can take that leap passing. Like we saw, kind of similar with like Jalen Hurts from last season, and this season took a big leap. I don't think it's going to necessarily like be like that, but I do still think he can like improve a lot as a passer. He is the arm too. It's not for a lack of arm talent.
Maybe I will try and buy Mooney. I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted. I think I might just wait till the draft and see what happens, see what his price is. Because right now, on most of my teams, I just don't really want to buy him. There's other receivers, and where I'll actually mention a couple once we get to our buy low, sell high segment that I'd just rather buy and spend my assets towards.
I might throw a name or two on there.
I think that's more of the problem, is that there's just other players I'd rather buy than
exactly.
Mooney.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. With like that second round pick that it would take.
And so right when I was getting in on this player, I was saying, hey, the 49ers running back, you always want to have a good, the backups for the 49ers running back because they always get injured. They just traded for Christian McCaffrey, who's been battling injuries. So I was like, hey, I've been out on Elijah Mitchell for a while now, but he's kind of gotten nuked in terms of his value. Why not go pick him up? Well, he's injured again. Should have seen that one coming. That's on me. But he is hurt. Christian McCaffrey is also
Elijah Mitchell
struggling with injury. About. Yeah. Elijah Mitchell is who I'm talking about, but Christian McCaffrey is also kind of hurt. So
it looks like McCaffrey's going to get, because it's like a soreness thing, it looks like it's going to be like a load management type thing.
Yeah, okay.
Like he's not going to practice much, and I wouldn't expect like 20 plus touches.
So we're going to get some mess of Tevin Coleman, Terry Davis Price, Jordan Mason.
Other Jordan Mason was the beneficiary last week.
He was last game. Yeah, it was Jordan Mason.
Okay, so let's just get it out of the way now. Is it worth trying to spend assets to get Jordan Mason?
I have Jordan Mason. If you want to give me a fourth for Jordan Mason, you can have Jordan Mason. He's fine, but he's not.
I think that evaluation is fair just because like you have no idea what the backfield's going to look like next season also. And I do think he'll get touches. I want to see how it ends up going now in the future with like if they elevate Tevin Coleman, who's one of Shanahan's guys, like historically, how that split goes between them. But whoever, like, there are going to be other running backs who get carries because I don't think they're going to give McCaffrey a ton.
But yeah,
while he's dealing with the knee thing.
There's nothing that's telling me Jordan Mason is someone like good. I just kind of
no.
Why would a really good wide receiver go to Chicago? I think he's talking about in the draft, not necessarily free agency.
Also money.
I mean, money, yeah.
Oh yeah, they do have a shit ton of cap space. So yeah, there's a couple avenues. Okay, on the contrary,
Tyreek Hill left Mahomes and the Chiefs for money.
Yeah. True.
So you were saying you like Elijah Mitchell. I'm someone that I really should have done this. I'm an idiot not to. I took the bait thinking like, oh, well, what if CMC gets hurt? I get my RB1 Elijah Mitchell back. I'm not going to mass offer him for a second. If you like Elijah Mitchell still and you want to buy him for a future year, what is your buy point that you're trying to get in at? Like, what's the type? Not even necessarily draft picks, because I think we fall, at least I do fall victim to just giving everyone a price of draft picks. What's the type of trade, ideally, if you want Elijah Mitchell right now, you're trying to pull off to acquire him?
I just really don't. But if I were, I'd give up kind of like a disappointing wide receiver. Like, can I trade a David Bell for Elijah Mitchell? I don't know.
Oh, that's
Let me check
interesting.
Keep Trade Cut. Like, I just gave up someone that, I mean, David Bell.
Terrace Marshall might get it done right now.
Yeah,
What's happened to him?
You guys think you can get Elijah Mitchell for like
Terrace Marshall? Maybe
Terrace Marshall.
David Bell has got a lot of truthers still. Like,
I still like him.
I guess, yeah, no. I mean, I was never really that high on David Bell. But I understand.
Well, the thing
like,
with David Bell that you can still buy into, especially if you have him on your taxi, is that third-round receivers are more likely to break out in their second or third season than their rookie season.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and he's about to get a giant QB upgrade. So
like it kind of allows you to be a little bit more patient with him simply because it's like, okay, well, he has a good college profile. He's more likely to break out year 2 or year 3. Yeah, listen, I'm not going out and trading for him, but there's at least excuses to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I get that.
I'm probably just not trading for Elijah Mitchell though at this point. Just wait until next year because it seems like
I don't
out
hate
for the year, right?
I don't hate the idea of trading for him. I
Or at
think I would trade
fantasy year.
Terrace Marshall for Elijah Moore in a second.
Mitchell, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
A
Elijah
third
Mitchell.
or Conklin, maybe. The reason I'm just not sure because I have Elijah Mitchell.
I was going to say I don't think
him.
you're getting him for a third unless it's like an early third.
The one thing I like about trading for Elijah Mitchell right now is almost having to do with like the psychology of it, where he has just been on a freaking. You just tied an anchor to him, shoved a bunch of bricks in his pockets, and threw him in a lake. That's his stock. And this injury has only compounded that. You just threw another pile of bricks and attached it to him. So, like in anything with Dynasty Fantasy Football, it's a whole lot easier to trade for a guy who's been trending down the entire season than a guy who's trending up. So, if there was a time where you can get an offer where someone's just like, well, shit, Elijah Mitchell, he's done, whatever, it might be now. Maybe you need to wait a little bit longer, but
I think if you do believe in him, the time is now. This is the cheapest you're going to get him. The fact that we're considering, like, can you get him for a third is kind of crazy.
I don't think you'll be able to get him. I wouldn't accept the third, I don't think.
I wouldn't accept the third if I had him either.
Because nonetheless, he's still a top 5 handcuff in the league.
Yeah. McCaffrey in that offense, easily.
So, what's stopping him from having a Jamal Williams-esque bullshit resurgence at some point?
Yeah, but I just think the price of him is going to be cheaper in the offseason than it is now. Like, I just think there's a lot.
I don't think that's wrong.
Of factors about Elijah Mitchell.
I don't think that's necessarily wrong. I more so meant now, like until like before he plays again.
I just feel like he was a late second probably in most trades before the injury.
I think even higher than that before the injury.
You think he was more than a late second before the injury?
We're talking this most recent injury, not the injury.
Oh my God! I thought you meant the injury in the beginning.
No, Elijah Mitchell after the CMC trade before he got hurt.
To
me, Elijah Mitchell was worth a late second round.
No. I thought you meant his injury like week 3. I was like, or like the one he got week 1, 2, or 3. I was like, he was like a high second, or almost like a borderline late first at that point.
Like, we all agree that this injury has lowered his stock. It's just a question of how much. Like, maybe it takes you an early third come rookie draft time to get him. Maybe that's worth investing in compared to the players around the early third. I don't really know.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't affect his value too much unless you're a contender trying to get him. I don't know, because, I mean, he's still super young. He's only on his second year of that contract with the 49ers. He'll be there the next 2 years right with McCaffrey, and I'm sure McCaffrey's going to miss some time at some point. They're not going to give him like 20-plus touches a game throughout the regular season.
I have a question. I have cut downs in another league. Who would you cut between Elijah Mitchell, Brandon Cooks, or Elijah Moore after season? The first question is there a trade deadline?
Yeah, I would try to trade one of those guys. What size league are you in? I was going to say, I wish one of those guys was on my league.
If you can still trade them right now, my answer would be to trade Elijah Moore.
Yeah, I feel like running backs are probably more valuable.
Who are the 3 names he said again? Elijah Moore,
Elijah Mitchell, Brandon Cooks, Elijah Moore. I just think the thing is you'd have the easiest time trading Elijah Moore for his current value.
Yeah, wait. When do you need to make the decision by? I'm guessing the end of the season.
I mean, I would just fucking trade Elijah Moore.
Trade deadline pass. Trade deadline pass.
Trade deadline pass. Damn.
I'm trading. I'm cutting.
Well, wait, no. Do trades open back up after the season before the cut?
Yeah. Is there like a window you could still trade someone before like the final deadline to cut? Because if so, that you have to trade one of them.
I'm gonna just operate under the assumption that you can't. I'm gonna cut.
If you can't trade anyone,
it's one of the Elijahs. Not sure.
No, for me, I was going to say Brandon Cooks.
Trades open in April, so yeah,
Brandon
he will have a window to trade them. It's just going to be a complete shit show between now and April.
Oh, if you have the window
I think you
in
cut
April,
Mitchell.
I mean, there are going to be multiple chances. Like, I'm sure Elijah Moore's going to have some big weeks where like his value will skyrocket. I'm sure if rumors heat up that the Texans are going to take Bryce Young, number 1 overall, I'm sure Cook's value.
Yeah, but he's going to be a 30-year-old receiver. Like his value is capped no matter what.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he's producing.
He's producing with like Davis Mills.
I think JT's right. I think you have to cut Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah.
Simply because I don't think any of these 3 players, given their current situations and their current profiles, are winning you leagues. So you simply have to play for value. I don't know. So yeah, I think it's Elijah Mitchell. I hate to say it because like he's a guy that I like hanging on to, but people are stingy. Yeah. That's a tough one. That's a really tough situation to be in. I think JT's right though. I'd probably go Elijah Mitchell simply because of the value.
New segment. We got acquiring 2023 seconds.
Let's do this. Let's do the buy lows and sell highs first, and then let's end it off with
not a new segment. Not a new segment. We're doing end of season sell highs. We'll kick off with the sell highs first. Who are we getting off our team? Frank, you put this guy first. I'm gonna let you spout.
So I actually started buying into Jaylen Waddle a lot this season. We saw that Mike McDaniel's offense is really taken the league by storm with how much speed they have. It's that West Coast Shanahan McVay system, but just having burners on the outside. But then I started looking more into Jaylen Waddle, and to me, the beginning of this season, it's week 13. The first 13 weeks of the season have almost gone as well for Jaylen Waddle as you could have predicted. The Dolphins offense has been firing on all cylinders, one of the top offenses in the league. Even with Tyreek Hill, Jaylen Waddle has been averaging 17.1 points per game. Right? It's all sunshine and roses right now in Miami. But the problem is, right now on Keep Trade Cut, I think he's the 9th ranked player in Superflex.
Jeez.
Let me ask you this. Riddle me this, Riddler. Who averages more targets per game? Zay Jones or Jaylen Waddle?
Well, I mean.
No way.
Yeah, obviously it's Zay Jones.
I feel like you're bringing it up. It's gotta be Zay Jones.
Jaylen Waddle, I got it off of Football Database. Maybe this is wrong, but I saw Jaylen Waddle 24th in the league in targets per game. Now, he's incredibly efficient on these targets, right? He's very dangerous with the ball in his hands. But at the end of the day, he has 6 games this season with 4 receptions or less. He's ranked wide receiver 3, a top 12 asset in Dynasty. I just think that this is very similar to what DK Metcalf was, a year or 2 ago, where he ascended into the top 12 players. Very good player. I'm not saying that you need to panic sell Jaylen Waddle. He's a terrible player. No, he's obviously a good player. But it's simply just a matter of a guy that I don't think next year, when we're doing our startup drafts, is going to be in the top 12 players.
No.
I think there's a decent chance that he's back being drafted in the 3rd round.
I like
just
that Jake's
where DK Metcalf is right now.
I like that Jake's not here for this though, because I mean it's sad because he's not able to defend himself here.
I mean, Jaylen Waddle, he's a top 5, wherever you want to have him in the top 5, 6, 7 receivers in Dynasty. It's just when you're the 9th overall ranked player.
I'm trading him for any quarterback I can.
Well,
I'm trading him for Deshaun,
that,
I'm trading him for Kyler, I'm trading him for...
Yeah, I agree. That's a trade, and you could get those guys apparently plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get Kyler plus.
Mm-hmm.
According to Keep Trade, you can get Kyler plus.
I'm trading him for any quarterback.
You could trade. I mean, listen, you'd have to go down the line and do that. Not only that, you could trade. You just move down the receiver rankings, right? You could get a DK plus probably. You could get plenty of good receivers plus for Jaylen Waddle. At the end of the day, I just think this is a situation where he's a good player, but the cost does not warrant the actual player. That 17.1 points per game, this is This is basically a CeeDee Lamb, Amon Ra St. Brown that's just worth that much more.
Mm-hmm.
Great player. Not Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase. But he's probably priced closer to those guys than where he realistically should be. So, to me, Jaylen Waddle is a guy. The season has gone great for Miami. But once again, when this offseason rolls around, who is the one fucking team that the defensive coordinators are going to be thinking about who they need to stop? It's that damn offense in Miami, because they're the guys that are the new kids on the block that reinvented the game. And that's the team that the defensive coordinators, when they're out to dinner with their wife and their shitty friends, they're going to be sitting there at the dinner table drawing up plays in their napkin to stop the Miami Dolphins. I'm selling Jaylen Waddle. I think he's simply just overpriced.
Don't disagree with that take at all.
I have another player. I didn't write it down, but it's for very similar reasons as Jaylen Waddle, just like a tier below.
Yes.
It's Amon Ra St. Brown, and I don't want to sound like I feel like I sound like the biggest Amon Ra hater. He's not a top, right now he's wide receiver 8 in Dynasty. He's not a top 10, top 12. I don't know if he's top 15.
Numbers back it up, though.
Yeah, Linus. That's
season, sure.
I was big on hating Amon Ra too. I don't know about hating him, but like as soon as he wasn't a day 2 pick in the draft, kind of wrote him off. Was like whatever. But all he's done in the NFL is just produce. And I get there's a whole Jameson Williams is going to show up. Yeah. But who's to say Amon Ra is not just better than Jameson Williams? I mean, he's clearly been extremely good on the lines right now. And then it's also, even if Jameson Williams is better, who's to say he doesn't get enough?
I think they can both be very productive. I shouldn't have said top 15. I just, it's easy for me to find guys that are like slightly below him, where if you're telling me I can trade Amon Ra for this guy plus, like,
yeah, I mean, there are definitely players I'm interested in,
especially some of like the rookie receivers.
I felt like Amon Ra initially, when he was going off in the beginning of the season and people were crowning him a top 5 receiver, was overpriced. I think about right now, he's pretty fairly valued. What is he, like the bottom end of the top 10?
8. Yeah, he's 8. He's slightly above Garrett Wilson. I think I'd rather have Garrett
Listen,
Wilson.
when it's all said and done, like, you can pick another 3 or 4 receivers that you might rather have over him. Okay, fine. I can understand that. Mm-hmm. But when it's all said and done, I just don't think he's massively overvalued. It really does depend on the offer you're getting, though, because when you start entertaining offers that are like 2 first plus potentially, then I might agree with you.
Yeah, I agree in that instance.
But I don't know. The fucking target share plus the age plus the production. Oh, Luna's dipped out.
See you.
And looking at trades with Amon Ra in leagues that I'm in, I don't know. I think he's pretty just fairly valued.
Yeah, I'm not putting a buy or sell tag on him. While Lunas is out, I'm going to move on to the next one, and that's Brandon Aiyuk. I like Brandon Aiyuk. I've been kind of hot and cold with him throughout the past couple of years. It's been whatever. He's been in the doghouse. He's been having good games. Yada. Everyone knows the story of Brandon Aiyuk. But at the end of the day, he's just like not a difference-making wide receiver. He is going to be a fringe wide receiver 2 this year. But I mean, those kind of players are a dime a dozen. So to me, I just would rather move off Brandon Aiyuk into either a reroll, because he's firmly in that like first round value. You could get a first round pick for Brandon Aiyuk. I think I'd just rather reroll for a player that can have a way higher ceiling, or maybe move on to a veteran that's scoring me a bunch more points than Brandon Aiyuk, because Brandon Aiyuk's only giving you like 13, 14 points a game in half PPR, if that. So he's good, but at the value he's at, I'd rather just either get the points or get a reroll for a higher ceiling.
I hate to say that I agree with you, because he's actually one of the players that I was thinking about putting a sell high on. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I fucking love Aiyuk, dude. I drafted him in the early second in so many drafts that year. But I think you're kind of just right in that I'm not sure I'm paying a first for him. Like, I think he might be like, okay, yeah, like if we're going to do a startup draft, he's in the range of other first-round receivers, but I think more times than not, I'd rather have a random first than Brandon Aiyuk because he's not one of those players that his production level really matches an amazing level player. Like, I listen, I don't know this off the top of my head, but I imagine he's probably a point and a half within Adam Thielen.
Oh, I don't know.
Look
Adam
that up
Thielen
right
hasn't
now.
been having a great season.
Exactly, which if he is, then there lies a huge issue. Okay, so Brandon Aiyuk 13.7. No, Adam Thielen is going to be a good like 3 points below him. 11.8 compared to 13.7.
Only less than 2 points.
13.7 is actually a little bit higher than I expected.
It's about where I had him, where I thought he would be.
I don't know. I'm on the fence with it now.
It's just not difference making to me. It's solid, but for the price of 2024 mid first is what Keep Trade Cut's saying. Just give me the first. For the price of put other wide receiver here, like Hollywood Brown, I think he's above. There's a few wide receivers I think he's above that I'd rather have. I'm not going to get into like the whole nitpicking here, but yeah, it's. Oh, as I'm looking on this, Gabe Davis just perennial, always sell. Not going to get into that, but all right. My next player on this list, though, I got into it, and I don't know, getting into it is really the right way to describe it. But I said Christian Watson was a sit. I said that I think he's being overrated in the stardom sit-em. And someone who went to North Dakota State was coming at me saying, "I don't know football," on Twitter.
Really, today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a classic Twitter saying, like, watch football, lol.
Dude,
Yeah.
what?
Well,
what
it's just like the guy was like, "I
in
know Christian Watson because I went to North Dakota State."
Dog,
Now, I wasn't gonna get into the nitty gritty, but like,
They live in North Dakota.
Yeah,
They can do is just search up their players' names on Twitters all day and just try to find people to respond.
yeah, I was gonna say you think like you might be biased a little bit if all you've been doing is watching Christian Watson. Like, he's fine. He's fine. He's super athletic. Yada. I made the point he only caught the ball 3.6 times per game to the guy. And I was like, in comparison, Drake London was catching it 11 times per game in college. He came back with, like they're a run first team. He'd get taken out during some games. Regardless, Christian Watson in the NFL has scored a touchdown on like 30% of his catches. That's just not sustainable. Like, the only time you're seeing that is like the backup tight end who's in on like goal line plays where his final season stat line is like 10 catches, 3 touchdowns for a total of like 25 yards.
Yeah, or Gabe Davis or Claypool, right? Like,
was the first one I thought of. Yeah,
he's all right, but regardless, he's an overpriced version of those two. Yeah, he's an overpriced version of those two. It's just, I like Christian Watson, but we're now talking, he is all the way up to, I gotta keep scrolling up, I can't even find him. Yeah, wide receiver 21. He's right next to Michael Pittman. He's above Devontae Smith, Chris Godwin, Aiyuk, Hollywood Brown, DJ Moore. There's just more established receivers that I think are better. He could have a good ceiling. Like, he could have a good ceiling. He could be an actual good player, but he just had a meteoric rise after 2 games where he had 2 blown coverages. He made 2 good touchdown plays. It's just not enough for me to be like, yeah, now he's a wide receiver 21. He's worth a first round pick. I'm not.
Well, honestly, that's starting to get to first round plus territory. Right?
Yeah.
Because generally to me, wide receiver 16-ish is you have to pay a first and a second. And he's
21. Now
encroaching that level of player, if not already.
He's pretty close to wide receiver. Wide receiver 16 is Pickens. He's 4920 keep trade cut points. Christian Watson is basically 4,700. So there's only 200 keep trade cut points difference, which is like nothing. So yeah.
I mean, I agree with that, right? If I can get a first and a second, and obviously anything more, I'm selling Christian Watson for that. Yeah. And you may have to wait until the off season for that to happen. When people do the classic like off season, if we extrapolate from like week 6 until the end of the season, he would have had a better season than Randy Moss. Like, once you get that shit going, then
it's like during like this 5-week stretch, he was wide receiver 1.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just saying, if a Devontae Adams is on this team, we're not talking about Christian Watson. Like, if they draft a receiver, if Aaron Rodgers leaves and they're stuck with Jordan Love, he's not going to be putting up these same kind of points. moving on to the next guy, Rhamondre Stevenson. I love Rhamondre.
I already know, by the way, JT, I agree with your point, but I already know what the first person who disagrees with you would say. He scored with Jordan Love. No, I agree with
Frank
you.
and
on
I talked about
point.
Jordan Love to start off the episode. We're not Jordan Love guys.
Oh, you don't believe in him?
No, no, thank you. Now, moving on to Rhamondre Stevenson. I love Rhamondre Stevenson. I think he's very good, but it's gotten to the point where he is running back 10. He's running back 10 on
my God.
Yeah.
Okay, no, because when you started your thing, I was about to actually get ready to defend Rhamondre Stevenson because I was going to be like, he proved me completely wrong. He looks like a stud. But I was actually high on him until you said running back 10. And then I was like, whoa. I thought he was like running back like 16 or 17. No, and I would have defended that price.
Get out.
Man, the running back market for like the past 2 years has just been a fucking clown fiesta.
It's super reactionary.
Yeah,
it's just always.
I mean, Dameon Pierce was like a top 5 running back almost, if not he actually was, and now the guy can't even get like 30 yards. Oh my God, it's an absolute shit show. Like, I mean, I think we said this an episode or two ago. You go down the list of running backs, I have a sell on 80% of them.
Yeah, same. Well, speaking of that, I'm going to move on to the next one too. And this
whoa, imagine saying this before the season, that you could trade Rhamondre Stevenson for Javonte Williams.
Yeah, well, I mean, injury is part of that, but
I know, but still,
yeah.
It's not like Javonte tore his Achilles. It's like he should be.
Yeah, well, Javonte's in. Before you go, JT, I'm sorry, but Javonte is in one of those scenarios where everyone that has Javonte is not selling him anywhere near that keep trade cut price. They're still going to value. You have to buy Javonte at what Rhamondre Stevenson is at right now.
Yeah, no. Okay. What I will bring up, I think a lot of times in those situations, you won't see it so much with like the person who has Javonte. I'd be more interested to see where they go compared to each other if like a startup draft happened right now. That's what I'd be interested to see because that's where like the owner bias goes away.
This one's going to be controversial though. In terms of, I'm getting out now for not anything, but I'm getting out now on Dalvin Cook for even below whatever the market is. I just think we're looking at a guy who is now 27 years old. He'll be 28 going into next year. He is still allegedly 43.88 keep trade cut points, which is around Hollywood Brown, DJ Moore, Rachaad White. Rachaad White, but he's got decent value. He might still sneak you a first round pick, debatably so. But to me, Dalvin Cook, when I'm looking at what Dalvin Cook's doing and like how he's playing, it's just he's not the same. I think he's washed up. Washed up might not be the right term, but I think he's on the verge of being washed up, and he's not catching the ball nearly as much as I'd like to see from Dalvin Cook. He's just, I think we're getting into the portion of Dalvin Cook where he's just going to be too old for you to get any value from him. He's also not really giving you that game-breaking running back potential that he used to. He's running back 12 on the year, despite playing in every game so far. So, to me, I'm just getting out early second. I'll take it. I'll take an early second for Dalvin Cook. And I think 99 times out of 100, you'll get that early second for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, I have a league. I have one league where I have Dalvin. I mass offered him for every first round pick and I was rejected. I even did a couple like Dalvin Cook in a third for 24 first was rejected. I'm just not sure I want to stoop lower than that as a team that can.
Yeah, see, this is falling to the trap, I think.
Yeah, I might be falling to the trap because you can make a similar argument with Zeke, right? Zeke a year or two ago was in a very similar situation.
Dalvin's older than Zeke.
But yeah, now if you ask me like what the correct move is, then I feel like in the offseason, I think we should do a trade like we did in our Orphan League where you package Dalvin with another old veteran to a contender and then get because so to give some backstory, the trade that we did in our Orphan League was what was it? It was Zeke and it was Derrick Henry and Hopkins, or it was Zeke and Hopkins.
I believe it was Henry and Hopkins.
And then Trey Sermon and Kellen Mond in their rookie seasons, which obviously did not pan out for
that
us.
part didn't.
But at the time, they
Hopkins,
were like
Henry,
second-round picks.
Hopkins, Henry, Jacob Eason in 2022 third for Kyle Pitts, Kellen Mond, Trey Sermon 2022 second.
So, like, in retro, I like that trade a lot in retrospect. And you can make an argument that it's working out for both teams right now because a contender with Hopkins and Derrick Henry is having a great time. But at the same time, it's fucking annoying to sell them.
You're not getting Kyle Pitts for those two. Yeah.
So maybe that's the play that you do with Dalvin. But I really don't know what to do right now with my one Dalvin Cook share. It's not fun trying to sell him. I can tell you that. If anyone in chat has any ideas like that's not involving a first round pick, maybe I should just really bite the bullet and just do like a first for second swap. But
yeah,
I feel so bad.
If you know you're moving up like 8-10 spots,
I think the move is just to buy low on guys that like you believe in with like that Dalvin Cook piece. Like guys whose value are low that you think like makes the deal even, but like it's Will for them, who's like someone who's lower on Cook.
Yeah, quick side note, you were reading through all those similarly ranked players, and you said that Hollywood and Rachaad White were ranked like essentially next to each other. Can we just take a moment to appreciate that Rachaad White's 7.7 points per game is right next to Marquise Hollywood Brown's 17.2 points per game?
Yes. Yeah,
again, and you're gonna act like the fucking running back market makes sense.
I said to sit Leonard Fournette this week, and now he might be out for injury. Who knows? But
he might be out of a starting job.
I kind of trashed Rachaad White as part of it, and I have people all over Twitter coming at me for Rachaad White too. He was only good in 2 games against like some of the worst run defenses in the NFL. Like we're not looking at some superstar Rachaad White. This guy is not a long-term solution. Like Rachaad White is not going to be good against. I forget who they're even playing this week. It's some tougher defense than what they were playing before.
I don't think he should be that high, but I think he can be a starting running back for multiple years.
No shot.
Yeah, the 7.7 points per game is a little bit like bait because obviously
he was behind. The season,
he was definitely behind Fournette. Yeah. But I agree with JT. I do not believe in Rachaad White long term. Right. I mean, dude, we've seen so many. This is becoming a Rachaad White seg. Honestly, fucking add him to the season-ending sells. Add Rachaad White. Okay. I didn't want to get into the running backs because it feels like every episode we're just harping on selling not all of, but a good amount of these young running backs.
I have a couple buys for running backs we're going to talk about.
But he's just overpriced. He's worth a first-round pick. Dude, I'm sorry, but if you're gonna act like he's gonna be a Nick Chubb, a Joe Mixon,
just compare him to the rookies. Compare him to the first round rookie running backs that are going to be coming out this year. Like you're going to have so obviously Bijan Robinson and probably Jahmyr Gibbs are going to go over him, but there are like other running backs like Sean Tucker. And
Tank Bigsby's been having a couple games.
I'd just much rather
Devin and Shane has been looking like a fucking beast for A&M.
He's all right, but he's better than Rachaad White. I'd much rather have him than Rachaad White. Rachaad White is not. No, thank you.
All right, so end of season buy lows. The first one I wanted to say now, this is going to have a caveat that we've been kind of repeating this episode. The whole the person that has Trey Lance is going to value Trey Lance higher than what he is on these trade calculators. The injury is not going to be as priced in. But the fact of the matter is, seeing what Justin Fields has done, I just think that Trey Lance is he's a better passer than Justin Fields is. He may not be as good of a runner, and we'll have to see what happens coming off of the injury. But if you look at their rushing production numbers from college and when they both entered the NFL, it's pretty similar, if not an edge to Trey Lance. So if you're telling me that I can buy Trey Lance outside of the top, 30 players, 25 players in Superflex Dynasty Leagues, I think that's a player that you have to test the market on. So honestly, no matter really what your situation is, Trey Lance is the type of player. He's not a must buy because not every single owner is going to want to sell him at a fair price. But he's the type of dude you have to see what the price is.
Co-signed completely. nothing else I have to add to that.
Yeah, I agree.
The second player I have, this is a really interesting one because I first got put on to this by looking at some of these data analysts like efficiency, blah, blah, blah. efficiency.
There you go.
Starts on Twitter. Jesus, that's okay.
You got it.
Round of applause, real quick. It's Jerry Jeudy. Started looking into Jerry Jeudy. If you look at his just raw points per game, it's like 10.3, but that's a little bit of a bait because he got injured. When he last played, he got hurt on like his first target, like on one of the first plays of the game. So you take that out, he's at 11.5 points per game. Pretty decent receiver. But then if you look further, week 2 and week 3, he was playing through an injury, which was keeping him off the field. He was under 60% snaps for both those games. The game he got hurt against Houston, I think it was, he played like less than a third of the snaps. The next game, on a snap count, playing about half. I hate being this guy, but you take out those 2 games that he's obviously playing through an injury, he's at 14.5 points per game, which is really high. And we're talking about Jerry Jeudy, who for so long now has been at that annoying worth more than a first, right? I have to give up more than just a late first to get him. If you look on Keep Trade Cut, he is now firmly under any late first in any year. I still believe that Jerry Jeudy warrants a late first round valuation.
What?
And if I can get him for cheaper than that, with this Broncos offense he was playing in potentially being a floor season, I think Jerry Jeudy could be a guy, especially in startup drafts, you can get for really cheap. He comes out and has a fantastic season. All I need is 13, 14 points per game, and that buy pans out. And to me, a trade that I might look to do personally is try to give James Conner plus to a contender that sees that Jerry Jeudy hasn't played, and I can get Jerry Jeudy off of a player like a James Conner or one of these other overpriced running backs. Not that James Conner's overpriced, but there's plenty of overpriced running backs.
Yeah, you're losing me on this one.
Same. Listen, I don't.
This is the first time that Jerry Jeudy, I think, has really had a hard buy tag for me.
I just can't buy, like you said, obviously, it's not necessarily like the trade you're trying to do is just give up that late first. But you said your evaluation of him is a late first. I'm more so talking about that because I know you think like, and it's true, you could probably buy him without having to give up a late first. I'm more so talking about the evaluation of a late first. I can't go anywhere near to that. I think my evaluation of him is closer to like.
What do you value Christian Kirk at?
I value him ahead of Jeudy.
I would definitely sell Christian Kirk for a late first.
So do you think that Christian Kirk is valued at a late first?
Yeah, probably around there. Maybe.
I think that Christian Kirk and Jerry Jeudy should command pretty similar value. I would rather have Christian Kirk right now.
I'd rather have Kirk.
But I think a lot of that is due to situation.
I know, but still, Jeudy hasn't come close to a season that Kirk is having right now.
I disagree. I think that Jerry Jeudy has
not
had
even
a
close.
much stronger season this season than people give him credit for. And that's simply because he's had a couple of games with injuries. That's it. You take out all the games he's clearly injured, Jerry Jeudy is like a top 20 receiver. And that's obviously over embellishing it a little bit, right? He's around like wide receiver 20, wide receiver 21, wide receiver 19. He's right around there if you take out the games with injury.
I don't know. I can't buy in on Jeudy. I think the price that it would take to get him is too high for me. Like where he goes in startup drafts is a different story, but even just his price on Keep Trade Cut, I want to see some of the receivers that he's around.
I would sell D-Hop for Jeudy right now. I would sell Amari Cooper for Jeudy. I would sell Rachaad White. Najee Harris. I mean, it's funny. I'm going to flip-flop completely from last episode,
Frank, I'll ask you a question. So Jerry Jeudy's wide receiver 33. Would you rather have Jahan Dotson or Jerry Jeudy?
I'd rather have Jeudy.
I'd rather have Jeudy too. That's a tough example.
Oh,
Listen, I like them both. I like them both, but I'd rather have Jeudy.
Well, I mean, he's also, I didn't want to say the obvious one. He's also ahead of Deontay Johnson, which I feel like it's not.
Well, yeah, I have Deontay on here as a buy. We say that every episode, and everyone's going to agree.
Yeah, no, I wrote that, but then I erased it. I was like, yeah, it's like, obviously, ask the person who has Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, everyone that has Deontay is going to value him at first. It might be the same thing with Jeudy.
I mean, I might buy Deontay for the late first. It's like...
The thing is, I can understand why after this season and right now in time, the Jerry Jeudy owner would be willing to sell.
I will also say this though. I mean, unless he switches teams, how much faith do you have in that offense to get back on? Like,
I don't care. They're
stuck with Russell Wilson.
Dude, I don't care though, because look at the numbers he's had. He's had good games. Jerry Jeudy is a startable receiver. He's a good receiver when he's played this season. That stretch of games after week 3, he was a solid wide receiver.
How many games is this though?
5 or 6.
4? Okay, 5 or 6. I don't know. And even if he is a startable receiver, which he was during that stretch, that's not enough for me to go like late first. What season is this? Is this his 4th season? 3rd? 4th?
I think this is his 3rd.
This is his 3rd season. I don't know.
It's the same for Brandon Aiyuk as me.
We did the analytical thing. It's like if a first-time receiver doesn't kind of like have that breakout in the first 3 years.
Yeah, that is true, but
obviously it is kind of tricky with Jeudy because of injuries. It's not like he's been healthy.
I guess one of the reasons why I like it is I'm almost considering this season a breakout season for Jeudy, which I understand is being a little hasty and could be wrong. But the fact of the matter is he is a startable receiver. If he just didn't miss the games, and that's one of the reasons I like this buy is that if you have these people looking at the raw points per game numbers, comparing him to other receivers, like he's going to be at 10 points per game, but the numbers are obviously skewed from games that he just got hurt in the first fucking quarter and went out. I'm not going to hold that against a player.
No, I wouldn't either. I'm not going to look at the average points per game to judge him.
To me, I've always wanted Jerry Jeudy shares, but I was never going to pay over a first for him. Now I can get him for under a first. In theory. Jeudy or Burks?
Burks. That's not a hard decision.
Yeah, I'll take Burks if you're offering them me straight up, but at cost, I might take Jeudy.
Nah, still Burks for me. Could move on to the next guy?
Yeah.
Real quick, maybe that's the other way the way that you get into Deontay is just by trading. Not Deontay. I mean, this is Jeudy. Also the way you get into Deontay. Yeah. Jeudy is trading down from. You know, the classic example is trading a guy like a CD or a Waddle for Jeudy in a first, or Deontay in a first, where JT is actually the one that mentioned this to me. A lot of the times you can look back at those trades and be like, damn, like I got a startable receiver and the first round pick level talent.
Yeah. I have a question. Would you trade Amon Ra in a late second for Deontay and 109, 108?
No.
I think you could kick the late second off of that trade.
I mean, if you think you can kick the late second off, then it's really
if I could kick the late second off, I think I might trade
or move that back. The thing is, in that type of trade, you have the leverage because Deontay's trending down.
I know. Yeah, sure. It's tough for Deontay. I don't know. I'm gonna be trying to buy him everywhere. I know you two still view him highly, but
wait, I mean, I traded for Deontay at the beginning of the season. I traded CD for Deontay in a first, and I would still do that trade today.
Yeah, I like both. I like both wide receivers, Deontay and Amon Ra. So it's not. My next buy though is I refuse to believe this is true. All right, but I'm gonna say Kyler Murray's buy. He's definitely a smash buy. I just don't know what his actual price is. Regardless, you do it unless you're paying literal second quarterback overall price, like unless you're paying Josh Allen prices, I think Kyler Murray is a screaming buy right now. And according to Keep Trade Cut, he's behind Tua. I don't believe it. I don't think that's true. I don't think you could trade Tua for Kyler.
You might in some leagues.
If you can, 100% do it. Justin Fields is ranked above Kyler Murray. Do that. There's so many players. I mean, there's not so many players because Kyler Murray is still the 17th player, but there's like 8 players above Kyler Murray that I would trade for Kyler Murray straight up. I would trade Joe Burrow. Yeah, Joe Burrow is probably the highest player that I would trade for Kyler straight up. But I trade Joe Burrow, Jaylen Waddle, Justin Fields, Kenneth Walker, Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, definitely. Tua, yeah. CD. AJ Brown. So I don't know, 7, 8. There's 7 or 8 players that are currently ranked above Kyler Murray that I would trade for Kyler Murray. So half the people ranked above him. I would rather. Then if you're talking below, there's so many other like players that I would just trade and give up a bunch of stuff on top of to get to Kyler Murray.
Move up to Kyler.
Do whatever you can.
Now's the perfect time to buy him. Like you have like Patrick Peterson coming out like dissing him on a podcast. You have like the Cardinals are like 4-8. I don't like people. I think now are lower than ever. But no, I completely agree with you. He's still a fantasy monster, and he's going to be a starting quarterback.
I just don't understand why, like Patrick Peterson's like, oh, well, Kyler Murray only cares about himself. It's like, well, is that is that a bad thing? Like, is he not supposed to only care about himself? Like,
no. And then Kyler responded to him.
What did he say?
He was like, you're acting weird as shit. He's like, you always like try to act like a big bro and a mentor. He's like, if you really felt this way, you would have hit me up personally. Otherwise, you're just doing this for clicks on your podcast.
I agree too, because like when I was,
I agree with what Kyler said.
I was looking at Justin Fields' numbers, comparing him to guys like Jalen Hurts, like all the other rushing quarterbacks. Kyler Murray is easily the best passer
out of
has like elite level rushing upside.
Well, people
the notion that Cliff Kingsbury could get fired, ooh, I'm licking my fingers. Like,
no, like for example, I'm someone in our dynasty. I have both of them. Even though maybe on a points per game basis, Jalen Hurts has been better this year. I think Kyler overall, when like kind of valuing passing more, had the more impressive year last year. Like last year, Kyler was absurd. I think this year has just kind of been a season from hell for Arizona, but he's still that guy. He's still, 24, 25 years old. He just signed that big extension.
Yeah, I think this team is at like rock bottom right now too, and he's still putting up like 25 points.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's still like what, QB8, QB7 on the year? And this is his
Yeah, so look, I'm not worried about Kyler Murray long term. I think he's an NFL quarterback. We are in a league where Marcus Mariota, Jimmy G, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, they're getting starting jobs. Kyler Murray is a starting quarterback. He's good. He is elite fantasy-wise, and he's not currently priced like it. So do whatever you can.
Do you want to know what needs to happen? This is what happens, right?
Oh, God.
Sean Payton, Arizona.
You got to take Activision and be like, yo, Kyler Murray, for every fantasy point you get, we give you a shit ton of Call of Duty XP. Boom.
Boom. And you just start going crazy.
He's doing it already anyway. He's scoring a bunch of points anyway. All right, next guy. I kind of talked about him before, but I did tease that there were running back buys that I have. First one is J.K. Dobbins. I feel like he's been unnecessarily beat into the ground over his injuries. Yeah, he's getting. It's like double jeopardy, right? Like he hurt his knee, and then they came back, and his knee wasn't fully healthy, and so he's still hurt, and he's getting dinged like multiple times for this. He's currently running back 23 behind Miles Sanders by a decent amount. He's equivalent to Isaiah Pacheco, which again, this is where I refuse to believe that's actually true. Like that's actually a case. I'm sure J.K. Dobbins. People are not.
He is attainable for less than a first. I've seen trades.
Yes, that I will say is true
for less than a first.
But there are so many players again that are ranked above J.K. Dobbins by a decent amount that I would just rather have J.K. Dobbins than. Derrick Henry is an interesting case because if you have Derrick Henry, you're competing with him, so whatever. But who I said earlier, Rhamondre Stevenson, give me J.K. Dobbins over him. I'm moving down the list. Tony Pollard, iffy. I think I'd still rather have J.K. Dobbins, to be honest. Damian Pierce, I'd rather have J.K. Dobbins. Najee Harris, same thing. J.K. Dobbins. Rachaad White, J.K. Dobbins. Dalvin Cook, J.K. Dobbins. Mars kind of iffy. Aaron Jones.
Fuck, that's a good idea. Maybe I'll trade Cook for Dobbins. Where's my phone?
see, that's what I'm saying. And
No,
there's just a lot of avenues.
Where the hell did my
For
phone
J.K.
go,
Dobbins.
JT? Oh, there it is.
I'm with you. I'm
Yeah,
trying
I
to buy.
have to.
I'm trying to buy Dobbins in every
Let
single.
me try
league.
that right now.
Yeah.
I like the
Who
sound of
has
that.
him in our league? Is this still
Lucas. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, what was I gonna say? The receivers I was talking about earlier, Brandon Aiyuk. Who else? Christian Watson. I'd rather have J.K. Dobbins than those guys as well. There's a lot of avenues to back yourself into J.K. Dobbins, or also just trade up to J.K. Dobbins too. I'm sure it wouldn't take a whole lot. I mean, it'd take a decent amount, but I think it's worth the investment. Someone that wouldn't take a whole lot, he's just like, I wouldn't say free, but pretty close to it, is Rashaad Penny.
JT, this was your idea?
Uh-huh.
Oh no, I assumed it was Frank's.
No, Rashaad Penny.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't know if it's a complimentary insult. I don't know if it's a complimentary insult. Rashaad Penny is running back 55, and I think he backs his way into a starting role, or if not, a committee role where he's valuable, somewhat like what Melvin
Starting
Gordon
role
was.
next year.
Yeah.
Have you seen the
broken
free agent
leg.
have you seen the free agent
Yes,
running backs in this
again.
draft class?
We've done this so many times.
When
for free
Penny
agents.
was playing at the end of last year and this year, he was good. He was
no,
good.
I know. I understand.
But here's the thing: he's like
Here's the
free.
thing.
The
He's like
dude's just
free.
made of
That's the thing.
glass.
You think it's gonna get better as he gets older with more injuries? It's like, oh, maybe at age 28 after his 18th injury, this will be when he gets healthier.
I'm willing to take the chance on the guy that's like, he's like a late third round valuation. You could just put him in to, like, you can add him into a trade where things aren't exactly evening out, and I think you're getting a plus even before he takes a snap next year. I think you're going to be able to trade him for more.
I guess at the price I can't hate on it just because it's like you're going for a lottery ticket with it. I more so disagree with your statement of like you think he's going to be, I guess, either a starting back or let's just say like the head of a committee.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get to that, but I don't hate like because you are right. He's dirt cheap. If you want to like throw him into a deal, he's a lottery ticket. But I just wouldn't be expecting much.
Penny is a perfect 49er.
He is. He's a running back who will look amazing for 4 games. They get injured.
I think there's so many teams that Penny can go to on a cheap 1-year deal and resurge his career.
49ers, Philadelphia.
I don't think it's San Francisco or I'm thinking a team like the Chiefs that clearly are willing to try just about anyone that's willing at running back, that they don't want to spend a draft pick.
I'm so interested, just on like the topic of free agent running backs, I was thinking I'm so interested to see some of the contracts these guys get this offseason.
We didn't talk about Melvin Gordon.
Well, we don't need to.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the take. There we go. We talked about
the 3-second timestamp. No, but I'm so interested to see what some of these free agent running backs get in free agency. Like, what kind of deal? Like now, obviously, there's going to be for each of these guys. Like, if it says 5 years, each one's really going to be like, oh, you can get out after 2. But guys like Josh Jacobs is playing out of his fucking mind this season. What kind of deal does he get? I figure the Raiders have
someone's
going to
overpay for him.
Saquon, he's like, in terms of just like non-QB MVP candidates, like if it was an MVP list of non-QBs, he'd be up there. Guys, but even like some other solid guys like Kareem Hunt, Miles Sanders is a free agent. He's having a great year. He's like 5th or 6th in the league in rushing. Like, I'm interested to see what it looks like.
Yeah. I still think Rashaad Penny is going to find his way into a decent role. The last guy that I have is just the perennial one. I feel like I don't really have to spend any time on it. DJ Moore, he is kind of seeing an uptick because he's getting recognized again. Yeah, Sam Darnold.
Baker is
who's unlocking him. Yeah, at some point, like, he's not going to be a buy, but when he's currently ranked outside the top 24 wide receivers, DJ Moore is just a smash buy for me every time. I will always be buying DJ Moore. I don't
Never
really have
heard-
much else to add.
I didn't think I'd be hearing Sam Darnold unlocking anyone.
Yeah. That's what it's coming to in Carolina. But yep, got Sam Darnold unlocking DJ Moore. All right, Lounis, here are your couple guys. This one, Frank and I did not agree with.
Which one? The top one.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson.
I like Dotson stuff.
I try to think of 3 unconventional names. I originally wrote Deontay, and I was like, I'm trying to think of guys that aren't really being talked about a lot. Jahan Dotson started the season great. Where was he going in rookie drafts? Around like early second?
111. I picked him up at
111. Yeah.
So there was drafts where he was going early second.
No, like,
but he was in that Watson.
That
Cook,
tier.
That tier, firmly after Pickens.
Listen, the Washington hasn't gotten good QB play at all this year, and like I don't think his lack of production has been to like a lack of talent. I think he displayed it when like Wentz was airing it out in the beginning of the year and throwing for like 300 plus yards a game. You got to see his ability. Now Heineke's like winning games with like 180, 190 yards passing a game. He had that injury mid-season that kind of like fucked up his groove. Like you have to like kind of get fully back in the rhythm. And I just think a guy who was like a first round pick, like what, a top 20, top 25 pick, falling to like wide receiver 36 when he's been healthy on like a healthy passing attack, he's been very productive. At that price, I just think it's too low. Like if they bring in if they have like a decent passing attack next year, I think he could start to like kind of usurp Curtis Samuel a little bit, or at least try to like even out those targets. I think his value like jumps up a shit ton. He's not someone I was in love with coming out the post draft, but just considering draft capital, the situation he's been in Washington, I think he's being a little bit undervalued right now.
So obviously, I think that Dotson's hamstring issue is still lingering.
And hamstrings are tricky.
Count, early in the season, 88%, 99%, 87%. Coming back from the injury, 41, 66, 61. I think they rushed him back a little bit because they are in the playoff race and they're looking for as much help as they can get at the wide receiver position with Curtis Samuel's lack of production recently. Actually, it's kind of funny that freaking Diami Brown has been making a couple plays, it seems like, for the
And by the way, with the hamstring, obviously, we've known those for like lack. Look at what they did to Keenan Allen. And he's someone who relies on his speed. Not like fully, but like.
So I think, to me, a big week for Jahan Dotson is going to be not this week, but the week 3 weeks from now. They play the Giants after a bye week. To me, I want to see that week where Jahan Dotson gets a large increase in snaps back to where he was at the beginning of the season. And I do agree with you. He could be a cheeky little buy right now. It's not really a buy low, but it's like a 10% off coupon.
It's more so it's like a buy before it jumps.
Yeah, maybe like a quick 15% off. You're going up to Macy's, you see a nice suit that you want to buy. You use your 15% coupon on it.
You can probably get him for like equivalent value of like a later second round pick, like a 206, 207.
Maybe like a cheeky little Cyber Monday deal going on.
Some holiday deals.
I'm not in on Jahan Dotson.
I like him.
Guys.
And I should be rooting against him. I mean, I have Curtis and Terry, but I think he's going to be good. And okay, my next guy, Isaiah Likely. I'm going all young guys.
This is wild.
Going all young guys. I know he's tight end 12.
He's tight end 12?
Yeah, this is wild.
But like, no, but like he's tight end 12, but he's like.
I mean, it's tight end 12. Like it sounds a lot better than it actually is.
Yeah, like what's the value of tight end 12 on Keep Trade Cut? Like it's pretty low. You're like in like the 50s. With
he's a waste. I mean, right now his price is
like,
a waste lord.
Yeah, like it's not. I just think we've seen with young tight ends, it takes them a little bit to get going. But for me, like the flashes he's shown, playing with that quarterback, and I think Lamar. I know the Ravens have been like so up and down this year. They've been a really weird team this season. And I can't tell if they're elite or not, or even like really good or not. But
fucking Lamar is.
Lamar is great. It's more so the rest of the team.
I don't know why they don't just pay his ass, because the guy is carrying them.
They keep on blowing like multiple possession leads in the fourth quarter that he gives them. I don't know. But he's someone.
Defense is nice too, though, in Baltimore.
Yeah, and so I don't know. He's someone he's shown a ton of flashes, and this description is going to be kind of similar to the guy I say next, and also just like the price you can get them at. Considering this Baltimore receiving core, I know Bateman will be back. We'll see on him. We'll see who else they bring. They have Deshaun Jackson out there catching passes right now. Like it's like the receiving core is very depleted. It's pretty much just Mark Andrews. And then
wouldn't the opposite logic work?
No, I'm saying likely will grow into that role, because I know you're just gonna say, oh, if it's shitty right now, why isn't he producing? He's a rookie tight end and like a new offense and everything. I'm not gonna shun him for not coming out and producing a ton. I've seen like the flashes of what he can do and the quarterback that he's paired with, and that's what kind of makes me high on him.
I just think you're stuck behind Mark Andrews. Definitely. It's just the juxtaposition of him and like a Jelani Woods, similar thing. It's just rookie tight end, everyone's hurt, then you start producing kind of thing. Like I
like Jelani Woods. I think Isaiah Likely's in a different, not even just a better player. I think he's in a different tier.
No,
for fantasy production going
he's
forward.
All right, but he's not someone I'm going on buying.
33 in points per game.
I know. Yeah. I don't care about points. Like I don't know. I just with a lot of these guys as like a rookie, depending on situation, especially for rookie tight end or like if it's a rookie running back or wide receiver in certain positions, I don't want to like box score judge them. I kind of just want to watch and see how they play, see the flashes they show, see if like I don't know. It's like there's different ways to have like certain stats, like whether it's like it sounds like a dumb explanation, but it's like if it's like a wide open pass or you see someone making a play, you've seen the talent on multiple occasions for him, and I think this is someone where it's like, by the way, I don't think he's ever going to usurp Mark Andrews. No, this would be a situation where I think two tight ends would be viable in this.
Well, you never know, because if you take the Dallas Goedert theory, and that
that's actually a great comp.
Mark Andrews age out, and then 3 years down the line, Isaiah Likely can eventually blossom into a starting level tight end, and like. Within that 3-year time frame where he becomes the starter,
I think
he has usable level. Yeah, he's startable. It's just not the sexy start level like, oh, I'm a beast. He's still going to be a waste lord.
A lot of tight ends, they'll take a year or two. Besides Kyle Pitts,
I think a large part is because the tight ends are kind of the second quarterback. They're the only other guys that have to know the run game and the pass game. Everyone else really only has to know one or the other. And the offensive lineman, it's not as intricate, right? Like
every pass play is pretty much like the same.
Like, not that it isn't. It's just not as intricate how much you have to know as a tight end or a quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. I saw mock them taking Butte. I think the Ravens have to take a fucking receiver.
They have to get a receiver. I'm keeping this in mind.
Are they not in the sweepstakes for Odell?
Their name's been mentioned, but the tweet as of today was he's making 3 visits, being the Giants as the first one, then the Cowboys and the Bills. That's what was reported today. The Ravens have been reported in discussions, but those 3 official visits with the date that each one is happening at was announced today.
What's up with are the Ravens broke? What's going on?
They
want to pay anyone.
Bro, I'm telling you, they have like Deshaun Jackson out there running routes and catching passes.
Were they in FTX? Do they have like all their shit in FTX? Like
their salary cap is cooked.
Dude, if I'm them, I would be freaking doing the Cowboy strat. Just having all my guys on social media being like, yo, you want to play with Lamar? We know you want to come here. Like, I don't know. That's weird.
I'm with you.
Next guy, Lou?
The last guy, I'm saying this also because of the price you can get him at, which round now is like you can get him with a contender like second. It's Alec Pierce. This is another guy where the numbers ever since Matt Ryan originally got benched aren't gonna like really wow you. But he's someone that more so like you've just had to like whenever you have time, people this offseason who haven't watched him already will go back and watch. First off, the passing attack offense for someone who excels with like plays down the field, whether it be jump balls, going over the top of a defense. They haven't had a quarterback who can do that for all season. The beginning of the season, despite the deep ball being completely non-existent in the Colts offense, he was still making plays and bailing out Matt Ryan on a shit ton of throws. Like, if you put together, like, even though you look at the season stats, it's kind of underwhelming. If you just look at some of the catches he's made this year, they're absurd catches, like mossing corners, making athletic plays down the field. I still think, I don't know, like, he's a very raw prospect. So it's not super surprising that he's been up and down this year, but I don't think the quarterback situation or the coaching situation has done him any favors. But he's just someone, because of that, I think he can get him at a really low price, and I think he can end up being a decent wide receiver too. I don't know. I think the price is kind of what's appealing to me. And I don't know if either of you have been able to watch much of him this season.
Not really.
The price isn't that bad, but it's not someone I'm going in on.
If you watch, like, I don't know, for me, like, when I watch it, a lot of his plays like pop out. Especially that game against Kansas City, the game against Denver. He was just against, like, I mean, especially Denver, like a good defense. He was like dominating on in the fourth quarter. Those flashes for me as a rookie, especially a second round pick, I'm not going to, and he was already a raw prospect coming out. I'm not expecting him to be complete as a receiver now. I think now is the time you can buy low on him before they get kind of a quarterback who can actually have a more like 3-level passing attack, and he's not as raw as a prospect. Because I think by like midseason next year, he'll probably be valued around a mid to early second. I think now you can still get him for like a 210, 211, and I think this is a pretty cheap price you can buy him at.
I think it's fine. It's not a smash buy for me, but it's not like you must sell him.
I think I'd just rather have the second. I think that's my.
I probably would as well.
In this year's draft at 210 or like 209 to 212, I'd take Pierce. Mid second's a different story, but you can get him for a late second right now.
I mean, looking at him, like, his stats aren't bad. He's averaging like 7 points per game. He's put up 424 yards this season.
And also, like, his stats at the start of the year before the Sam Ehlinger came in.
God damn it!
What's happened?
Someone's spamming the chat with some nonsense. Find yourself a hot girl here. No, you're not. You're not gonna find anyone there. Get out of here.
No, you guys can do a Dynasty Football
podcast. Hide user on this channel. How do I ban this guy? Did that work?
Chick stick the longbow.
Oh, sweet! I'm so good.
It worked. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys haven't watched him, go and watch like some of the plays he's made this year. And if you look at the game log, I don't know if you have the game log put up, Frank, but before Ryan got benched, he was really starting to get it going. Whole Ehlinger thing happened. Now we got Jeff Saturday, coach. The past, I don't know. The whole thing's just kind of a shit show. And again, his main specialty is a deep target. Like, for me, I don't know. Christian Watson is like a slightly ahead Alec Pierce, who has Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. I think they're kind of similar prospects in my eyes, both of them coming out. I had Christian Watson slightly ahead, but yeah, he's another buy low for me.
He's a weird one for me. I don't really know if because I think I'd just err on the side of the second, but at the same time, I could see him having a breakout year at some point.
His athleticism,
he's athletic
at his size too. He's 6'4", like with some of the biggest hands in the draft. He runs decent. I think he's
because I do see where you're coming from, right? Because he's a guy that, yes, he was a raw prospect, only ran he was like a 3-route merchant at Cincinnati. So, like, you're not going to expect him to come out here and have a super diverse route tree. He's shown flashes this year. If there is a guy that's going to have, like, a third-year breakout, it does feel like Alec Pierce fits the mold.
And also an unlimited passing attack. It's not like they're going...
So, like, yeah, if he's able to, in his rookie season, put up, like, 550 yards, that's a successful rookie season for a guy like Alec Pierce. You're probably picking him up in the late second in most drafts. So like maybe it's worth
this,
just shoving him on the taxi, keeping him on the roster instead of doing a reroll.
I think this is a guy where even if you don't like him long term, a year from now or 2 years from now, you'll be able to flip for much more than you bought him for right now.
I just wonder, is he better or worse right now as a profile and what he's done than the average late second round pick?
I think his ceiling is much higher than the average late second round pick. And I mean, his floor also isn't that. I would take him over the late second round pick, unless it's like a historically loaded draft. Like I'm thinking about the 2023 class in mind. I'll take him over that late second range.
I really don't know.
In the 23 draft, like again, if there's like a draft, like let's just say in like hypothetical 2028 draft class where it's like, holy shit, this is like unseen. The 2023 draft class is like universally guarded. I know it's kind of like the expectations or like view of it has kind of dampened a little bit, but it's still like positively viewed as a draft class. I would still take them above a late second. People after the first few weeks of the season were saying early second. I'm saying you can buy low now after he kind of got off to a hot start before they benched Matt Ryan. People were saying early second. Now, after how the whole Colts season has gone, you can still get him for the late second.
Shit, we're in the wrong boxes again.
Who am I?
Oh, man.
You're Jake, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
I'm JT, Lounis Amirat.
How did I do this week?
You were the big winner.
You're the... Oh, fuck off.
Oh, no way. Once again. I'm too good.
All right. Well, Dynasty stock market, folks.
I'm too good.
Wrapping it up here.
Damn, Lounis, you're almost at 50K. Good for you,
man.
buddy.
You know,
give me the guy from TCU over him, Kendre Miller. Yo, peace out, Skull Dynasty. Have a good night, man.
Not the guy from TCU I was thinking of. See you, Skull.
All right, Dynasty stocks market. So yeah, Lounis is the big winner this week.
Yes, sir.
Wait, what? Does Jake have a total change? Oh, yeah, he does. Okay, I'm on crack. Yeah, Lounis is the big winner. Me and Jake basically even. I mean, no real crazy stuff this week. Let's just get right into the buys and sells. I did not prepare for this at all.
All right, well,
I forgot we were doing this.
I could do Jake's for us, and then maybe that sparks some ideas.
How did George Pickens only go up 59 points? I mean, he
didn't do a ton last week.
Yeah, he didn't score a lot.
I guess, yeah. I thought he looked impressive.
All right, you guys ready for Jake's?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, Jake is selling. I can hop in here, actually. Jake is selling Michael Gallup. He is selling George Kittle. And he is selling Hollywood Brown. I think it's supposed to come back.
He already played.
He came back,
yeah.
And he got more targets than Hopkins.
Yeah. That's what I meant. Yeah. So weird for me for Jake to sell him, but those are his sells, and then his buys are Pat Freiermuth, Kareem Hunt, who I'm intrigued by.
That's such a Jake buy.
It is, and Keenan Allen.
Okay.
And those are all Jake's moves.
Okay.
For some reason I have a different.
Damn, Kenny Pickett went up a ton.
Yeah, people were raving about his game.
Oh, hold on. Jake's values are. Let me undo all these. Jake's values were screwed up because they had the last week's values in there still, or some of them did. Everyone else's should be fine.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Tell me Jake went down. Oh, he still went up. All right, so then I got to edit this. 208. Sorry about that. Screwed Jake's up. Yeah, all right. Any of those you like strongly disagree with?
I don't understand selling Hollywood.
Yeah, that's the one that I got stuck.
Wait, Hollywood's still on his team right now.
Yeah, because I undid everything because I had to fix the bank. You should have had 208 in the bank after last week. And then so then he sold Gallup, Kittle, and Hollywood. And then he bought Keenan Allen, Kareem Hunt, and Pat Frymuth. And then 16-17 is what he has in the bank. That is correct. Okay. I could do my sells. And if you guys want to do your sells after me, I'm going to sell. I took a chance on DeAndre Swift. Did not work. So I'm selling DeAndre Swift.
I don't know. He plays Jacksonville this week. You don't want to give him another shot?
Yeah, it's just the public's just out on him, so I'm not gonna wait on that. I'm gonna sell Jonathan Taylor. I'm gonna hold Keenan Allen, selling Sky Moore.
Frank, is Najee playing this week?
I'm selling Trey McBride.
I don't know.
Fuck, they're playing the Falcons. I wanted to pick up their starting running back. Whoever's starting.
I'm not sure we can block Grady Jarrett.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Grady Jarrett.
I'm not sure we have an answer for him.
Yeah. All right, those are my sells.
All right, I'm gonna sell Tony Pollard. I'm gonna sell the Steelers crew. Oh, do I? We're playing the Falcons.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm selling the Steelers crew.
Who was it? George Pickens, Kenny Pickett, and who?
And Deontay. I had the whole Steelers offense.
Steelers fan had whole Steelers. I don't know if I've ever bought a Patriot.
I'm gonna keep everyone else. Yeah, I'm gonna keep everyone else for now.
Okay. I'll tell you my sells. I'm selling what is it? Sell Michael Gallup and Elliott at the end. You can sell Tony Pollard up top and James Cook. You can sell. Do I sell T. Higgins? Jamar Chase is back this week. Oh no, sell Nico Collins. Do I sell anyone else? How much do I have? 16,000. I'll keep it as is. Yeah, from there I'll keep it as is. Frank, did you make your sells?
Yeah.
I have a couple buys, unless one of you guys want to go first.
Yeah, go on.
Shoot.
Okay, so I already know he's super high on the on Keep Trade Cup right now, but I'm gonna double down because this run defense, since Bosa has gotten hurt, is the worst run defense I've ever seen. Josh Jacobs against the Chargers.
This is the worst run defense I've ever seen. That's hilarious.
It's terrible. They've been averaging it's like every game since Bosa got hurt. It's like the opposing team is like,
well, dude, their
plus.
entire defensive line is hurt.
I know. I think when healthy, they're good. It's just right now they're
dude, Josh Jacobs is just so expensive.
They're clearly not. I know that's the thing. So I'm like buying high on him. Amari Cooper.
Because Deshaun.
Yes, sir. The question is, do I buy Deshaun Watson? That's the main question. What is he? Are we embargoing him this week?
No.
Well, we've been on the Deshaun Watson train for a while now.
Do you guys have him?
Oh, I do.
Yeah, I have him.
Oh.
Everyone has him except for you.
Oh,
and Jake.
No, Jake has him too.
Jake does have him.
I feel like I should buy Deshaun Watson. Oh wait. Buy Deshaun Watson, sell Treylon Burks. That's how I'll make up for it. He'll be on Slay Island. Then I want to get give me some Terry McLaurin.
Scary Terry.
Is
Mike 23 hundo?
Is Mike White over 1,000 yet?
Probably.
I want Mike White.
This guy's getting Mike White.
Do you know the secondary they're playing against?
Nope, he's 652.
No.
This guy can't get Mike White.
Oh, that's bullshit. That's racist. Okay. Okay. 2,300.
I got a couple buys real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll think about it.
I'm buying AJ Brown.
Oh, that's a good buy against this Tennessee team.
Oh, he's got some periods in his name, I guess.
By the way, Tennessee plus 5.5 is the bait of the week.
I'm buying Justin Herbert.
We won't talk about
really,
but I'll give. Oh, okay. Is Khalil? By the way, question: is Khalil Herbert out for the rest of the season?
I don't know. I think so. I'm not sure he's eligible to return yet. I'm not sure David Montgomery's the Bears have played.
I won't go into the whole argument for him, but I completely forgot. I meant to book Khalil Herbert as one of my end of season buy lows. So
the fuck, Lounis?
I meant to do it. No, I don't know. He's RB28. That's a buy low. Okay, continue on with this.
Frank's going big here, Justin Herbert and AJ Brown.
I don't know who to buy outside of this.
Can I short Tua? I'm still want to be able to short.
All right, buddy, get out of town.
No, like imagine it's like we just put the thing in red. It's like their value, like the amount of points you gain is like how much their value went down from like.
Oh, Jake's doing it because Kareem Hunt's playing Houston. Anyone?
Yeah, that's why I'm probably gonna buy Kareem Hunt when we get to my buys.
Yeah, you can go, JT. I don't know who else I want to buy.
All right. I'm kicking off. I thought I was going to be the guy to make a big splash, but Frank's buying Justin Herbert. I'm going to do practice what I preach here, and I'm going to buy Kyler Murray.
Oh, that's a good buy.
Who does he play this week?
Also buying Kareem Hunt. He's got to buy.
He's got to buy.
But, maybe what's his face gets fired during the bye week, Cliff Kingsbury. You never know. One can dream. Yeah, so I'm buying Kareem Hunt too. That leaves me with still 10K. This is where it gets difficult. I think I kind of want to jump with Lounis and buy Amari Cooper.
That's the right answer.
I'm going to buy Amari Cooper. I sold Jarvis Landry, actually.
Do I still have Garrett Wilson? I do, right?
You do, I believe. They go up a bunch because
I sold Garrett Wilson.
I know who I'm gonna buy.
Wait, I sold Garrett Wilson last week.
I'm gonna buy AJ Dillon. That should be my last buy, right?
You sold Garrett Wilson 2 weeks ago, Lounis.
No, I'm such a fucking idiot.
I'm chilling. I bought AJ Dillon. That's my
no, I'm such an idiot. Okay, I have to make room for Garrett Wilson now. Fuck. Okay.
I'm also gonna buy Garrett Wilson.
I gotta figure this out, bro. He's a quarterback who can hit him, and that Minnesota secondary is ass.
No, the Minnesota secondary is good. They're just fucking merchants that play freaking off coverage all day, and they're like, "We'll stop you in the red zone."
Oh, I'm interested. Frank. What was your take earlier during the Jets offense segment?
Dude, okay. Listen, I'll repeat my take.
I'm really sad that I missed it. I was hoping you would
Mike White did play well, right? Mike White made throws that Zach Wilson was not making, specifically under pressure.
He played average,
and he was making some good reads. But let's not act like Mike White wasn't playing what I believe is the worst defense in the league that also lost one of their only of 3 average players left.
Has Zach Wilson had a game close to that in his career?
Yeah.
Which one?
Dude, Tennessee last year.
Tennessee is the one game every Zach Wilson. I mean, I hung on to that game. I actually was pro Zach Wilson at the end of last season. And then I saw him this year, and I was like, "This guy fucking."
So, I think Mike White is a massive sell in Dynasty right now because I think he's just a bait.
Well, no, he's a sell. I mean, if you want to know what to do with Mike White, anyone who got Mike White, if you're not a contender, sell him to a contender to be their QB3. If they have someone on bye these last couple of weeks, Jake did that with me. Jake just did that with me with Taylor Heineke. At the end of the day, do I want to buy Taylor Heineke for a third? No. But the situation that I'm in, do I have to? Yeah. So I would just hit up contenders, try to get a third from Mike White. Yeah, no, I actually hit up Mike and Gold. That third that I gave you for Heineke, I offered it to them for Mike White, and they said no.
The fucking Jets fans. See, the thing is, my other take was that this is the Jets fans' wet dream. Fucking a backup quarterback coming in and playing well is like what the Jets fans have always wanted. But it's all right. They'll chase Zach Wilson out of town. He'll go to Pittsburgh and have a Geno Smith-like resurgence. That'll be sweet.
Okay, real quick. I'll sell Antonio Gibson, and that's how I'll buy Garrett Wilson. How is Mike White only 600?
I mean, he's not the guy.
Listen, man, he's him. I don't know what to say.
He's something.
Oh no! This man was about to spend a third-round pick on Mike White.
Yeah. No. Do you see the defenses that he plays for the rest of this regular season?
I mean,
like when you were just shitting on like the Bear, you were like, oh, the Bear. No, the schedule is set up for Mike White to look better than what he is.
Don't they play Buffalo like 2 weeks from now? Who he threw like 4 picks in the first half against?
Buffalo is the one game. Buffalo's the one game, but he has some like low ranked secondaries against it. Dude, like he played the Bears. The Vikings secondary is giving up a ton of yards. Yes, he does play Buffalo, but then he plays the Lions at home right after that. Like, he plays secondary.
Lions, the thing is, I'm not sure the Lions defense is a good matchup for the Jets because the Lions defense has been playing better. And I think the one of the major problems that the Bears have, and it was a little bit better, and credit to Mike White, he's making some throws, but they did not have a consistent pass rush. That's the thing about the Vikings. The Vikings might be able to create consistent pass rush. The Bills 100% can, especially if Von Miller misses this week.
He'll have a bad game against the Bills.
The Lions at least have pass rush. The problem with the Lions for the beginning half of the season is that their secondary just blew a shit ton of coverages. And I think part of that is because they just ran too many looks trying to fool quarterbacks, which just kind of led to people being wide open. But they've tightened things up a little bit, and that Lions defense is playing a lot better.
They have.
And the problem with the Jets have so many offensive linemen injured. They did play well last week, but it's against the worst fucking team who traded all their good defensive players, and Eddie Jackson destroys his ankle and then lets Garrett Wilson run right by him for a touchdown because he can't get up and tackle him.
Yeah. Oh, Mike White scared him.
I just think Mike White's a bait, man.
Agreed.
I want to get Devontae Smith. I don't know how to do it.
Devontae Smith looks great.
At wide receiver 22. I think
he's been playing like low key. He's been pretty improved from last year. He just doesn't get enough volume.
No, yeah, it's just volume. No, like if you look at listen, I was one of the people even that like way back in like the off season where where he was entering the draft, I was pro Waddle over Smith. But Waddle and Smith, based on their talent coming out of college and the talent they've shown in the NFL, isn't a wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 22 difference. It's just kind of the situations that they're both in. But it's not that big.
And the Eagles can run like the Eagles run the ball like the Eagles can.
Why would you pass it? They run for 360 yards. By the way, that's fucking absurd that the Packers let that up. Oh man,
I'm good to go.
I don't think the Titans are going to let up. I'm sorry, I'm holding this up. What is Devontae Smith at? I'm just going to do one sell and buy him.
4,600.
And then we can end this. I'm sorry, I'm keeping this up. 4,600. I have 200. So I've got to do someone here. Does Jameson? Do I risk selling Jameson? Is it when he could play this week? I will sell.
Hey, go ahead. Sell Jameson Williams.
I can't.
I mean, there's no shot he plays this week. You might as well sell him.
I'm staying put. Fuck you guys. I'm not doing it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm done.
Be at your own game there. All right.
Incoming Devontae Smith career game.
Well, that's going to do it from us here. This is a long one, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you made it this far, really do appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Thank you guys for watching. Bet Devontae Smith's player props this weekend.
Yeah, like and subscribe. It really helps us out. All that stuff. Good luck in your matchups this week. Peace out. Have a good one.